Hey. Today, I want to talk about if you're trying to work on something, if you're trying to create success, if you're trying to lead, if you're trying to do something different in your life, and you're wanting to do it on your own terms, in your own way that feels actually good, you want to create success in a different way, why it might be taking so long. Because there's actually a really good reason for this. This is very, very common. And there's a loop, there's a pattern that we can get ourselves into that will actually keep things dragged out even longer. So I want to talk about this here today because if you're doing this, I'm going to tell you why you're doing this and how to pull yourself out of it so you can help move yourself along. So, first of all, what I want to say is that if you are creating success on your own terms, if you're leading on your own terms, if you're doing it your own way, it is going to take sometimes longer than you think it should. And, I'm being careful in saying that because I don't want to plant a seed. I also don't want you to think that it's going to take longer and then all of a sudden create that and drag it out. But at the same time, we have to be real and have real conversations about what could be going on if you do think it is taking too long. Okay. So I don't want to plant a seed that it's going to take longer, but in my experience, it does. And there's a reason for this. So if you think about the old system, okay, we were all taught how to create success, right? There's this formula that we were given about how to create success. The part that we didn't realize, we weren't necessarily conscious of, is that we believed in that system. We believed it worked. We saw lots of evidence. We were told that was the way. So, as you were going along, creating something in your life, doing something in your life, maybe building your career, whatever it looks like, you took a whole bunch of steps to get to where you are right now. You took a whole whack of steps. Like, okay, so for me, I'm going to go work this through in an example. Okay. So for me, I graduated high school. I went to university. I got my degree, had an undergrad in economics. I went on to get my CPA designation. Partway in there, I started working, blah, 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 blah. Right. And I went through this whole process. And of course, the promise is when you do all these things, you're going to get a good job at decent pay. You can climb the corporate ladder, create more success for yourself, right? It's this beautiful formula. Okay. Now, nobody had to convince me that it worked. I didn't have to convince myself that it worked. Everyone told me it was what worked, and I saw lots of evidence of people doing it. So, throughout that whole time, when I was going to school, getting all the degrees, getting all the certifications, I didn't stop and go, oh my God, what if this doesn't work? What am I doing wrong? No, I didn't. The formula was given to me. It was literally a recipe given to me. At no point did I go, what if this doesn't work? Now, we all have our own securities and we all have our own little doubts. That's totally normal, right? But there never really is a point where you go, what if this doesn't work? You just don't. The system tells you this is what happens. The system tells you do this. The rules say do this. The rules say do that. And this is what's going to happen because there's always this, when rules are given to us in life, there's always a cause and effect. If you do this, you get this. If you don't do this, you don't get this, right? I talk about this in my last video quite a bit. Like we live in this cause effect. So if we were told, you do this, you get this, we blindly followed it. And what we don't realize at the time is that the whole time we were going to school or doing whatever you were doing, right, to achieve success, you had a level of faith in and trust that this would get you somewhere. But you likely weren't conscious of it. And this is the key part here. You didn't have to try probably all that hard to think to yourself, this is going to work. You didn't have to try to build faith within yourself. You didn't have to try and go, oh God, I think this is going to work. Like imagine if, say, second or third year university, and I'm, getting my undergrad. Imagine if I stopped and I went, oh my God, it's not working. It's not working. Why would I think it's not working? I'm still in the process. I'm still moving along. Like it sounds ridiculous when I say it, but we go a long time when we're building our careers at the beginning without any proof that it's working. Literally none in our own life. Like we can see proof out there, but we don't actually receive proof in our own existence that it's working. It's not like I can say in my, second or third year, like, why don't I have my dream job making, minimum six figures at the age of 21? We don't do that because it'd be ridiculous, right? It's like, well, you're not there yet. Like you're in the process. Like you just keep going. But here's the thing, what happens when we start making our own rules and we start leading in a different way and we start doing things is we have to now consciously, very, very consciously and very intentionally build the faith and trust. See, before it just happened. It was just there. We weren't even aware of it. For the most part, like I said, we all have our own insecurities we had to deal with along the way. But you didn't really trust the system. You may have trusted yourself within that a little bit, but you just kept going. And you know what? Probably got to where you are right now. But when you start making your own rules, you have to build that faith and trust within yourself because you don't have that as an automatic. It just doesn't come naturally. It's like you're going against everything you were taught. So you have to literally build that within yourself. But here's what I see happen. This is the trap I don't want you to fall within. So if you've been doing it, you can see it now. And if you haven't been doing this, you can always save this video for later and come back to it. But what we do when we are venturing on our own path and we are creating our own rules, creating, leading in different ways, succeeding in a different way, what we do, because we don't have proof in the outside world that the method that we're choosing works, we look for proof in our own experience really, really quickly. Because we're like, how's this going to work? Da, 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 right? Because we don't have all the proof. So we look for it too soon in our experience. And what we might see is things falling away and going, oh my God, it's not working. Things are falling away. It actually looks a lot messier. Because if you think to yourself, if you've been following rules all in one way in your life, your whole life, if you all of a sudden start following a whole different set of rules that you created, well, things are going to be shaken up, right? Shooken up. I don't know which tense that is, but they're gonna crumble a little bit, right? There's gonna be some relationships that fall away. There's gonna be some dynamics that don't work for you anymore. It's just natural. And it's easy to go, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? It's not working. What am I doing wrong? It's not working. What do I need to change? It's not working. Here's the problem with that. That's going to put you in a loop forevermore because every time you look for all the evidence to prove that it's working before it's had a chance to actually work, you solidify it's not working. That's what you actually do. So you now build a story within yourself that it's not working. And then you go, well, what do I need to do differently? And so you start racking your brain, exhausting yourself, trying to find ways to make things work that don't actually work, but it's just keeping you on a hamster wheel because that's also what we're taught in the old paradigm. The old paradigm is, like I said, we've got to see this cause and effect. That model of cause and effect that we were all taught is very, very, what even the word is, it's like damaging. Because what it basically says is if you don't have the effect that this model gives you, this promise gives you, you're doing something wrong. That's what the old model says. If you're not getting the result, it's you. It's not the system, it's you. And so it keeps us looking. It keeps looking at our own lives. I mean, I've seen this so prevalent with people in the corporate system. I'm not getting ahead. It must be me. I'll get an MBA. I'm not getting ahead. It must be me. Fill in the blank. And we do this all the time because that's what that system taught. If you're following all the rules and you're not getting it, there's something wrong with you. You must fix it. And so what we end up doing is just solidifying the story that it's not working, solidifying the story. And there's something that we're not doing, we're not getting, that you are not enough because that's the program. You're not doing enough. You aren't enough. There's something that's going on in there. Well, what if the only thing really going on right now is you every day having your own back, believing in yourself, believing in what you're creating, And, there's nuance to this. Of course, there's always ways we can improve. And I'm always going to be that person that's creating the best version of myself. But there is a difference here. And there's a fine line becoming a better version of yourself and learning and doing all those beautiful things versus continually keeping yourself in a cycle of this isn't working. What am I not doing good enough, well enough? They're two very different things. You must build the faith and trust within yourself, and you have to hold it. You have to hold it. You didn't have to hold it before. You do now. And it's not a muscle that most of us have cultivated because we never had to. We never had to hold the faith, hold the trust, and be firm in our conviction that whatever path I'm on is working. We've never had to do it like this before, but you have to now. And this is why reclaiming your power is everything, because you will not be able to hold your conviction, hold your faith, hold your trust in yourself and in what you are doing unless you reclaim your power. You can't do it. You will not be strong enough. You will not be resilient enough. Reclaiming your power. Oh, if I could describe, and I'm actually going to do a video very soon. I was thinking about this recently about what it's like to reclaim your power. Like, how does it even look? Like, how does it feel? Because I think a lot of times it sounds like an interesting concept. Like, what does it really mean? What does it really look like? Why bother? Right? And I did a video once before. It was like, why bother? I think it was something like that. But I'm going to go deep into it. Like, what does it feel like? Because when you reclaim your power, you become very certain of yourself. You trust yourself at a deeper level like you never have before. You become your own inner authority, right? But just know that this is going to take more of you. But it's worth it. I will tell you that. It's absolutely worth it. But if you're in that cycle right now of going, it's not working, what do I need to change? What do I need to do? What do I need to fix? What do I need to whatever? Fill in the blank. Ask yourself and have an honest conversation with yourself. Like, remove yourself from all the crazy in the world and the chaos. Go out in nature, do whatever you do to connect with yourself, and ask yourself, is there something I really need to fix here? Is there something I need to change? Or do I just need to believe in myself and have my back like I never have before and just go deeper into that? You've heard the term, you got to be a little bit delulu. The reason why we have to be a little delulu is because we don't have the outside world validating us. We didn't have to do that before. That doesn't change the mechanics of what you're doing. So having that faith and trust before you see the outcome, before you see the results. That's how you see the results. If you don't have faith and trust in what you're doing and the process, you will never see the results, right? We have to understand that our consciousness comes first, right? The reality that you're creating is a mirror reflection of you, not the other way around. We think that we'll believe it when we see it, right? And the reason why that's so prevalent, and that's why we believe that's the way the world is created, is because that's how the system worked. It said, hey, look at all this proof. If you grind and you sacrifice, you'll get somewhere. Look at all the proof. And we've been conditioned to believe, to look for all the proof, but that's actually not how energy works. That's how a distorted system taught you to look to the outside world for validation. The truth is you have to believe it first. We've just never seen this before. This is a new paradigm, and this is actually creating new patterns and new ways of being that we've never had to do before and be before. But it's possible, it's doable, and there's so much quantum mechanics behind all of this. When you see it, you see it. You see how the system was created before. You see how it sucked all of us into compliance. But then we have to see it so clearly to know, okay, all those things we took advantage of or we didn't realize were going on, we now have to apply it to this new way of doing things because it's not automatic. Okay, this is what this is really about. Is taking all the things that we didn't know what were going on energetically in the background and now seeing it and applying it to our reality. All right, beautiful soul. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to put the link down below here for two master classes. So I do a master class a month of training. Two that came to mind as I was talking today: the energetics of success. I'm going to put that below there. And there's a whole description of what's in each one, but I did mention energy a little more today in this, and this is a really good masterclass to dive into. And then the other one is how to reclaim your power. It's called Reclaim Your Power, but it really is a step by step of how to reclaim your power. So I'm going to recommend both of those masterclasses. They're linked down below here in the video here. I love to hear your comments. What are your thoughts on this? And if there's any other topic you want me to talk about, I've got lots to talk about. I've got a lot to share. I'm doing a video a day. I've got so much to share. But if there's like, oh my gosh, there's something that's burning, in my mind I want to know about, comment below, right? And I'll consider. I'm not saying I'm necessarily going to do if it doesn't align, but I'm happy to absolutely explore it. All right, beautiful soul. Take care, and I will talk to you soon and see you in the next video.